So who would be okay if life got a little bit better as a result of being here today? You know, many people come into this environment and they're looking for a better life. They're looking to step up to a higher place, a higher consciousness, a deeper vibration. And that takes stretching, yes? How many of you, in the second question, are willing to get to the higher ground to stretch? You know, we pray that prayer all the time. I'm willing to change at depth to get to that next level. Oh, wait, I have to work at it? Yep, I've got to work at it. So the farmer was in his farmhouse, and he heard his old donkey braying out in the yard. He went out to see what the matter was, and he saw that the old donkey had fallen down into the bottom of the well. And it was way down there. It was so dark he could hardly see him, but he could hear him. And he didn't know what to do. He threw a rope down trying to get it around the donkey, couldn't get it to do it. He got his friends to come over. Somebody help me get the donkey out of the well. And they tried and tried and tried for hours upon hours, and then they decided there's no way we're going to get this donkey out of the well. And the farmer made the very difficult decision. We're going to have to put him out of his misery, and let's just bury him in the well and put him out of his pain. And so all of the farmers got shovelful after shovelful and began throwing it into the well, and the donkey became terrified. Shovelful upon shovelful, hitting his head, not hitting his back. And he began to cry out, scared, afraid. But then he realized, because he was a very smart donkey, wait a minute, if I shake it off of my back, and then I step up, I'm getting to higher ground. If I can shake it, didn't matter how many shovelfuls were coming, he could shake it off and then step up, and eventually he got out of the well. How many people are sitting here today as a testimony to life feeling like it's being thrown at you, where you shook it off and you stepped up? We share that in our earthly experience and our expression. That's an important thing to remember. It's not all peaches and cream and a bed of roses on earth, is it? There are moments where it feels like everything's being thrown on top of you and you're overwhelmed and you're stressed and you're afraid. That is the exact moment we find God. That is the exact moment we find a power and a presence that's greater than anything the world can throw at you. Yes? So you see, we have a ladder here today. We're going to higher ground. It says in the book of Genesis, chapter 28, this is the story of Jacob's ladder. Please read it with me. And he dreamed, and behold, a ladder was set upon the earth, and the top of it reached to heaven. And behold, the angels of God ascending and descending on it. Now we know that angels represent metaphysically our thoughts. How many people have had thoughts that felt like you were going to heaven? More hands for this one. How many had thoughts that you were holding, entertaining, and welcoming into the laboratory of your existence that felt like you were taking yourself to hell? Well, more hands came up. We're going to work on this because we teach in Unity that our thoughts are creating heaven or creating hell. That's it. It's not a place of reward or punishment in some far-off distant time. It's a current reality based on the thoughts that we are holding, based on our ability to shake it off and step up, or our cursing that the dirt keeps hitting me and it's not fair. It's not fair. Anybody ever been there? So let's talk about Jacob's ladder. Jacob's dream was not just a mystical vision. It was a map of consciousness. It was a story of consciousness, and that's what we're in the business here. Consciousness, Christ consciousness, Buddha consciousness, light consciousness. In Unity, we understand that stories in Scripture are more than historical. This story of Jacob's ladder is psychological, it is metaphysical, it is spiritual blueprints of our awakening. At any given moment, based on the thought we're thinking, we're up at the top or we're down at the bottom. But we get to have the control. It's nobody else's fault. We either claim our power to shake it off and step up, or we sit at the bottom of the well and get buried with life as a victim. The choice is yours. Jacob's ladder is a metaphor for the rising and expanding levels of awareness. Today I'm using that metaphor when it comes to our relationship with abundance. How do you define abundance? Call it out. That's not a rhetorical question. How do you define abundance? Health, prosperity, love, relationship, kindness, compassion, goodness, and yes, money. You know, it is the most uncomfortable subject for me to talk about is money, but it's all the same thing. Whether it be kindness, relationship, love, courage, strength, your relationship, it's all energy. And we are in a campaign right now. We're going to use money, but just as the metaphor. That's it. Abundance is expansive. And if you have a narrow field of how you define abundance, you're probably not going to ascend to heaven. We're opening the corners of our mind to an awareness, as the chaplains have done, to a higher consciousness, to a wider consciousness. That ladder is not somewhere out there. It's somewhere in here. And so I want you to picture this ladder in your life inside of you right now. And just think about what rung you might be on. Each rung represents a shift in thought and a deeper knowing of divine truth. Each rung represents our ability to shake it off and step up, or be consumed and go down based upon being a victim. But this is Palm Sunday, and I would be remiss as a minister not to mention Palm Sunday. This is exactly what Jesus was doing when he rode into town on a donkey. A humble little donkey. Jesus was ushering in a new consciousness. He was coming in knowing that on that journey into Jerusalem there was going to be challenges along the road. But he was committed to elevating the consciousness. That's the work that we do here, yes? How many people, just by a show of hands, you're not in the same consciousness that you were 10 years ago? And I'm sure it was an easy road, right, to get here? I'm sure it was just everybody singing, Hosanna, Hosanna, I behold the light in you, I behold the Christ in you. Yeah, well, this week that changed the world, Jesus had to deal with the good, the bad, and the ugly in consciousness. And so this is an appropriate talk for Palm Sunday. Jesus ushered in a reality where God was for all people. Where God was not divisible as haves and have-nots. Where God was divisible as the people who have a corner on the market of truth and those that do not. He ushered in a consciousness where God was for us, not against us. He ushered in a consciousness that had to shake off the attack, the dirt being thrown on him, shake it off and step up, and invited us into that stepping up experience, just like the story of Jacob, just like the story of the donkey in the well. He brought a consciousness where ideas of separation were completely removed, and that was radical at the time. He had to confront the entire system that was running the earth and running the government. I like to think that we do that here as well. The government that's going on in your head, the Pharisees and Sadducees that believe there is a limited amount of good on the planet. I'm saying today I want you to confront, as we make our way up this ladder, any consciousness, any old paradigm that needs to die about the limited universe we live in. We live in an infinite universe. Say that with me. We live in an infinite universe. And those are not just pretty words. That is spiritual truth. There is enough God to go around. Yes? Jesus ushered into Jerusalem a consciousness that said greater good was available to all, not just some. So, let me ask the question again that I asked earlier. How many people would be okay if your life got a little bit more prosperous as a result of being here today? I hope it's an enthusiastic, yeah. Oh, I don't know, I could lose a little more love. I could use a little more prosperity in my life. No, be enthusiastic and passionate about the dream and the vision and ascending this ladder that we're about to ascend. So we have a ladder of consciousness that indicates the steps that we are going through as a community to usher in a consciousness of greater good, individually, collectively, and collectively. Proving God, proving the expansiveness and the infinite nature of the universe. At the base of the ladder, I'm going to get my notes here, we have scarcity. Say that with me. How many people have ever lived there? Come on, let's just get honest with each other. I lived a good portion of my life there. There's not enough to go around. There's not enough money. There's not enough wealth. There's not enough love. There's not enough good people. There's not enough of everything. It's a really hellish place to live, isn't it? Constantly striving to survive. There isn't enough to go. Before Jacob's dream, he was in a place of fear. This is where this is. Fear and uncertainty, which is basically what we call hell. I'm living in a constant state of fear. Isn't that where most of us start our spiritual journey? We're brought to our knees, and I just can't live there because it's miserable. But what do we do? What do we do to keep ourselves stuck there? We hold on. We clutch anything we have because there's a finite reality, a finite universe. And it's mine, 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 mine. And I have to be afraid of you because you're going to take mine, 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 and there won't be enough for me to go around. That's a place of hell. In this level of consciousness, the word giving comes up, and that feels like a loss. I'm giving, you mean you're taking is what you're telling me. This is a consciousness that is really so afraid that when you're asked to give anything, whether it be love, whether it be money, whether it be time, whether it be energy, you're in a place of loss. And so you retreat, you contract, and you go inwardly. This is not a very happy place to live, and I know firsthand it's miserable. It is hell. This is where most of the world hangs out, but it's so uncomfortable that we decide, I can't live here anymore. Anybody got that moment, the moment of your spiritual awakening? I don't want to live here anymore. I don't want to be in hell. And so we take a step up, and we become a seeker. I'm seeking something other than what I'm experiencing on earth. And it's that what Anais Nin quote that said this. Let's read it together. And the day came when the risk to remain tight in the bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom. This is why when we're being kicked in the butt, the universe, the life, whatever you want to call it, says, there's more, Richard, pay attention. There's more, and I become a seeker. And what happens when you elevate? Anybody who knows how topography works? What happens when you elevate the height? The horizon gets more I can see more. I can see the people in the back. Hey, Al. I can see the people that I could not see on the floor. So there's an expansiveness that begins to happen that's holy, that's sacred, just because I had the guts to shake off the stinking thinking and step up. Divine uncomfortableness, if you will. The universe is going to make you uncomfortable if you're hanging out just down there. I need to bloom. There's something calling me to a greater version of myself. Put your hand on your heart. And I want you to get in touch with the moment that you made a decision that there was more to life to experience. That was the call of God. That was the Christ of you coming into the Jerusalem of your mindset and saying, there's more. There's more. That was a holy instant and a holy moment. Many people stop right there and don't go any higher. And they're missing the expansiveness of heaven. Yes? But I'm no longer comfortable with the fear of scarcity, so I'm moving, and the view gets different. And it feels pretty good. Wow, I only got one foot in hell. The rest of me has moved up to a higher vibration as a seeker. And what happens when you become a seeker? You find. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and the door will be opened unto you. Jesus said this during the week to change the world. And then there's a greater awareness. Wow. Wow, my awareness of the good in this universe has expanded. There's more of you there's more good happening here on the planet. And I begin to meet people who are also on the same journey to go to heaven. That's why community is so important. We find each other. We find, as my friend Larry likes to say, the tribe of 5. I like to say it's a tribe of 200 people that are there holding you up as they allow themselves to be held up by me and by all the rest of us. Community begins to emerge, and it's a holy, sacred thing, yes? Hand on your heart again. Remember the moment that you found your people. That maybe were stretching themselves too, willing to change at depth, willing to stretch themselves for a greater good, for themselves, for me, for all of us. Yes? We meet people and we start to talk about this journey of evolution, this journey of consciousness, this journey of expansiveness, and it feels good. This is usually when someone finds spiritual community and they begin watching. Anybody here watch the other people that come into these doors? I watch you all the time. And what I see is growth. What I see is stretching, spiritual yoga, if you will. You're not just stretching your body, you're stretching your mind, you're stretching your heart, and that in of itself is holy. I've put myself in the environment of stretching. I've put myself into the environment of evolution. I've put myself into the environment of becoming more of me. And guess what? The higher you go, the more good you see, plain and simple. The horizon is far greater than I ever thought it could be. And I think, you know what? I want what they're having. How many people remember Harry Met Sally? I want what she's having. There seems to be so much bliss. There seems to be so much joy in that person. They're experiencing more heaven than I am. I want a little piece of it. And so from the place of awareness, I step up to being a spectator. I buy a ticket to the game. But I've got the cheap seats up at the top. And I'm just looking at all the good that's happening in the universe. Wow, there's a lot of good here. But I'm a spectator. I'm just merely a witness. Now, this step is important. Why would this step be important? That's not rhetorical. Why would this step, a spectator, be an important one on your evolution? Listening, paying attention. I'm gathering information. I'm gathering strength. I'm gathering evidence about what Jody did, what Joel did, what Bill did. I'm watching them. And as a spectator, I'm seeing a lot of good unfold for those people. And again, I say, I want a little piece of that. I want to go to the higher level, but this is usually where it gets very scary, and I'm going to have to shake off a whole lot of stinking thinking. You know, we're only one thought away from hell. I can go right back down here real quick when I get afraid. But I choose to believe that the light that is chosen to do business as me is greater than my stinking thinking. And I can taste heaven. I can feel the abundance and the overflow. I can feel the goodness. It's a lot closer. I could not reach it when I was in hell. But then the thoughts begin to bounce around our head, yes? Anybody have an overactive imagination? And we make up stories of good, bad, or otherwise. But here I am as a spectator gathering information, and I decide I want what you're having. I'm going to put my toe in the water. What do you have that I don't have? I notice you're giving a lot. I notice that you're participating a lot. You're in the game. You've come out of the cheap seats and you're down into the game and into the arena, and something good is happening in your life. I want a piece of that. This is when I become a casual giver. I will give if I like the music that day. If I don't like the music, first time? First time giver. Okay, I'm going to dip my thank you. It's really hard to read your notes when you're starting to shake a little bit from the height. You ever notice that the higher you go, the more your knees knock? You ever know that the higher you go, the more good you're experiencing? I'm not just touching the good, I'm tasting it, I'm smelling it. Something's calling me. Jesus was calling the universe on Palm Sunday into a greater expression, and that's what we do here. So I become a first-time giver. I'm going to put $1 in the plate. I'm going to volunteer for one job. Don't ask me to do more. I'm just going to do one job because I don't really want to commit. But I get to have an experience as a first-time giver. I didn't die. Wow, I didn't die. I volunteered, and it felt good, and I met some new people. And so this, as my friend Larry likes to say, is basically more than zero. People ask, and Larry always is reminding me, what does it take to evolve? It takes more than zero. That's it. Up to this point, it's been zero. Zero, zero. And let me tell you, that is a conscious leap in consciousness. It is a huge stretch, and you're going to have to shake off a lot of stinking thinking. I'm going to put some dollars in it. Maybe I'll put a 10. Maybe I'll put a 20. Maybe I'll put a 50. Or maybe I'll volunteer for Family Promise all week long. Let's hear it for the Family Promise people. On your spiritual path, I'm asking you, if you're on one of those lower rungs today, to consider giving more than zero. To not just being a spectator in the cheap seats of Unity North, but to be somebody who is actively participating one time. That's one step. I'm not asking you to go up here yet. I'm asking you to take one step. If you've never given to this church, this is the day. I'm asking you to apply spiritual law and to get into the flow. Put your toe into the water of spiritual flow. But what happens at this level And by the way, Jesus during Holy Week had moments of being scared. If you read the scriptures of this Holy Week, he was angry, he was scared, he was fully human. He cried, he wept, he got ticked off. Yet, he returned to something greater, and this is what this next step is going to require of you. It's not Richard the man, it's Richard the Christ. This is what he was bringing. I know who you are. I know that you have forgotten who you are, but I'm here to remind you in tough love ways and in kind, generous ways. That's how we do it here at Unity North. We're calling each of you up to a Christ awareness, to a higher level of giving, a higher level of expression, whether it be love, prosperity, money, kindness, time. I don't care what it is. However you define prosperity, we are calling you to a higher level. And for us, that next step of becoming is, well, I didn't die. I gave more than zero. Good. I'm saying give more than one. That's it. I'm just asking you, if you've given once to this church, consider doing it twice, 3 times, 4 times. Because at that point, and it does get a little scary, the altitude is amazingly beautiful horizon, and it gets a little bit scary. Anybody been there? When it came to giving, what I found at this level is there's more for me to give than I ever gave myself credit for. I was living, and then I have that thought, let me go back down to hell. No, there isn't enough. I'm only one breath away from that idea. A sense of belonging begins to happen at this level. I belong to you. You belong to me. And that phrase, we're in this together, begins to emerge. I begin to realize that you are my brother. It's not just a pretty theory. You are my sister. It's not just a pretty theory. And I begin to develop a consciousness that says that your good is as important as my good. And when we join hands and hearts and intentions and minds and spirits, we begin to elevate the vibration of the whole. Not just in this room, but outside the room. Let me tell you, the consciousness around Cobb County needs to shift. And I'm not making apologies for that. There's a lot of us and them. A lot of that scarcity thinking there isn't enough to go around. We have a corner on the market of spirituality and truth. And if you don't value that you have a safe place where Jews and Muslims and Christians and atheists and agnostics and pagans can get together and find that love is the most powerful force on the planet, you're not giving credit to what happens in this building. And I'm asking you today to give credit to the elevated consciousness that exists in this room, that exists as a result of you being willing to be a one-time giver, to be a casual giver, and then to consider today the biggest leap of all, to be a consistent giver of your time, your energy, your talent, and yes, your money. This is when the knees begin to knock, and this is what, no. And what begins to happen in this moment is the awareness that we're doing this together, and we're all scared together. We're all confronting this together, and that's when you ask help. So I've asked 4 people to come up and to hold this ladder. Four of my favorite people on the planet are going to hold this ladder. That's my tribe of 4. I'm going to ask Mike Stott to come up here in a minute to catch me when I jump. Into your arms do I commend my spirit, Mike Stott. This is a huge thing because the feeling that happens, the vibration that happens at a casual giver, at a consistent level, I want that feeling all the time. I want to feel the Christ all the time. I want to have this as a moment-to-moment experience, and I'm no longer a casual giver. It's not about more than 0 or more than 1. It's about a consciousness that's emerging. I am consistently in the river on the flow. I am consistently in the prosperity. Many of you sitting here today are not on our consistent giving program. And let me tell you, that's the reason this church exists. When we hit rock bottom, it was a consistent giving program that allowed this building that we're going to celebrate 25 years in to still be here. It was the consistent givers that said, whether I'm in the room or I'm not, I'm participating. Whether I'm there for any service or any class or any workshop, I'm in it because I belong to you. You belong to me, and we belong to each other. Hold it steady, ladies. This is the step that Jesus asked us to do on Palm Sunday. to take my spiritual practice from the realm of a casual hobby and make it a spiritual practice. He didn't talk directly about money, but that's spiritual law. If you are a casual giver, a one-time giver, you're not reaping the benefits of prosperity. And I asked you earlier on, how would you feel if your life got a little bit more prosperous? And you all put your hand up, yes, as a result of what happens here today, so I'm extending a challenge to follow the path that I have walked. I was afraid to tithe. And I always thought it was about the church asking for money. And I was very critical about that. And when I finally woke up a little bit, I realized that the church was asking for my well-being as much as its well-being. That the church was asking me to live in the consciousness of overflow, of heaven, of transformation, and to quit playing down in hell. That's my challenge for you today. If you're not on our consistent giving program, to consider taking that step and find your tribe of 4, your tribe of 5, to hold the ladder still as your knees knock and you go, I can't do this. I was there. And when I began, the moment I mark as my prosperity, I am more prosperous than I've ever been in my 63 years. And it is because I consistently give. Love, compassion, time, volunteering, service, community, and yes, my money. And what's funny is I make less money than I used to, and I am able to give more than I ever could give. And I am prosperous. I don't just want this for the church, I want it for you. I want you to experience what it's like up here. At this level, we begin to understand that prosperity is not a condition. It's a consciousness. Giving is not an act. It is a way of life. It is a portal to higher ground. And the view up here, let me tell you, you look marvelous. I can now see you when I couldn't see you from the floor. And when I say seeing, it's behold the Christ in you, which is what Jesus did on the Holy Week. He saw the Christ in everybody. He didn't separate people. He said, I see the Christ in you, and he crossed the boundaries. We celebrate that on Palm Sunday. So up here, with an elevated consciousness, I have more love, I have more wealth, I have more everything that I never thought was possible when I was on the floor. And it's only because I was consistent. But then, I didn't put a number on it anymore. I want to be an investor in the consciousness that's happening in this community. The good that we're creating, we may be a small group of people. There's nothing small about what we're doing here. It is changing the face of the planet. I want to become an investor. You're all nervous now. I practice, so I'm comfortable with this level. I'm about to go to levels that I'm not so comfortable with. Here we make a shift from I have to. Let's put that next slide up there. This is the shift that this is an evolutionary path. On the lowest level is I don't. I don't give because there isn't enough. And I take one step up, I have to. Anybody ever give out of obligation? I want to tell you today, do not give to this church because you think we need it and you have to do it, because that's creating a needy church, and we are a prosperous church. We are a thriving church. But then you step up to, I should do it. I have to do it. I should do it. Let me tell you, elevation and consciousness begins to expand when you go to I choose to. I choose to participate in your life, in Andrea's life, in Brian's life. I choose to invest in you. I choose to be a part of your family. And you choose to be part of mine as Judith chooses to be part of everybody's in here. There's something holy about that. And it's going to make your knees knock. Find your tribe of 4, of 5, or 6, or 200 to say, we can do this consistently over and over and over again. We get to the place I get to. I get to live in the highest dimensions. I get to live. How many people live at this place of overflow in your life? Is it a holy place or what? It's an amazing place, and I've tasted it, and I want you to taste it too. I want you to taste what it means to be in overflow. I trust the ladies. I'm not going to stay there. And I'm going to be honest with you. I've tasted overflow, but what I just did is exactly what I do. I'm there, I'm not there. I'm there, oh hell no. That's the human journey. I shake it off and I step up over and over and over again. The angels of going up and down my spine, ascending to heaven or descending to hell. I get to be the controller of where it is. And I'm not asking you to go from the floor to up here. You guys can let go now. We're good. Up here, the vibration. You're good. Thank you. These 4 ladies are a part of my support team, and I'm a part of their support team, and I love all 4 of them. But when they walk away, I'm going to hold on a little stronger. The vibration, that is heaven, I have felt it, I have known it, and I got here through giving more love, giving more joy, giving more time, and giving more money. And I'm asking you, where are you on this ladder? Where are any of you? I'm asking you today to take one step higher. That's it. Not a quantum leap, one step higher, because every step you take puts you closer to the vibration of truth, of transformation, of God, of love, of oneness. Not just pretty theories that are down there, but the direct experience of what abundance means. Yes? We ascend Jacob's ladder and we rise into the awareness that we are co-creators. We no longer ask for prosperity, we are prosperity. We no longer have a pretty theory about prosperity, we're living as the flow itself. That's true oneness. Investing in a collective consciousness that says we belong to each other. At this level, generosity becomes effortless, and I begin to see giving as creative and not as subtracting. You know, my greatest joy is when I get an unexpected income. My first thought now was never down there. I get to give more. I get to participate more. I get to share more good with each and every one of you and the people in my life that are important. And from this place of overflow where we are all going to, we get the words of Jesus he spoke on the Holy Week when he said, "Give, and it will be given unto you a good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over shall be laid in your lap." That's overflow. And then when Jacob awoke from his dream, and you know what he said? Surely, of course you do, because it's on the screen in front of you. Let's say it together. Surely God was here, and I did not know it. I'm asking you to see God, to know God, to prove God, to claim God in this community and show the rest of the world that needs what we have here that God has shown up on the planet and we're not playing small anymore. I'm going to invite Sylvia Drawn to come forward now. Oh, there she is. Pay no attention to the man coming down off the ladder.